Yo, what is happening, guys? This is the Don. I'm back with another video. Today's video is kind of unique. This has been requested by a lot of you guys, actually. It's an accuracy tutorial video. This is going to be a video of how to improve your accuracy in Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer. So I basically got 5 tips for you guys in this video that I think are really going to help you improve your aim if you just put in the time and actually work on them. Nothing in this video is going to happen immediately. I work on this stuff all the time. And if you just think, oh, I'm going to start doing this stuff in my game and everything's going to be great, I'm going to have perfect aim, you're wrong. You really got to practice it and put in the work, and your accuracy will improve. I promise you that over time. So what I'm going to do is just going to jump right into a private match and start showing you some of this stuff. I'm going to play against the bots, and I'll just explain this stuff as I'm playing against them. Alright guys, we're in the private match, and my first tip is on centering. I've made an entire video about centering. I'll put the little box up for the video right here in the clip. But basically what you want to do with centering is aim your gun, right? You're putting your gun's crosshairs as you come around corners roughly where you expect the enemies to be, right? You're not just running blindly around a corner like this. This is not what you want to do. Instead, what you would want to do in this situation is as you come through here, you center up on that window, center on this doorway, center over here where their spawn is after you've centered right there. Make sure you're keeping your gun where your enemies are supposed to be coming from, and the point of you doing this, right, is so that you basically have less time that you're actually aiming, because you've already done a lot of the hard work in the first place, right? If I'm already aiming at that door, as I come around here, this would be such a haul for me to get my gun all the way up here like this, right? If I just come around this doorway and already have my crosshairs like this, then I'm going to be able to have done most of the hard work already. The second tip I want to talk about is knowing your weapon and the recoil patterns of your weapon. So in Modern Warfare, the recoil patterns are recursive, which basically means that your gun is going to have the same recoil pattern more or less every single time you shoot it, right? So if I'm using the MP5, which a lot of people do, I'll shoot it like this. I'm not touching the triggers, or I'm not touching the sticks at all, right? And I see the bullet pattern, right? It goes up and then slightly to the right, like a tiny, tiny bit. Some guns are different. Some guns, literally, the bullets go like, not quite that much, but kind of like that, right? Like the M13 does that, the Holger does that. There's some weapon patterns just have, you know, different recoil things that you know need to learn. And so if you use a weapon a lot, you get really familiar with that, right? So if I want to counteract this one, this was my MP5 bullet, you know, spray. All I have to do is pull down the stick slightly, and as it goes up more, then to the bottom, like left-ish. And as you can see, all my bullets go in roughly the same area. It's very light. You don't have to do a lot of, you know, aggressive, like, holding down of the stick in order to accomplish this, right? So all of those, so say my target was right here, right? This is the guy's head. Those first few bullets would hit, but then, and I was really close range, so a few bullets hit, he would die. But if I was further away, right, this pattern gets more dramatic, right? Only like 1 or 2 of these bullets are going to hit him. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you're controlling your recoil so that every single bullet in your clip is hitting your target. The third tip is to aim for the head.
Should have gone for the head.
Honestly, guys, if you shoot somebody in the legs, it's not doing anything. If you shoot them in the arm, that takes so long to kill him, and I'm not even far away from him, right? But if I shoot him in the head, he's dead very quickly, right? So if you want to aim for the upper chest and head area so that you can actually drop your opponents at range and effectively at close range as well. One really easy way you can practice this, which I do this before most of my sessions, I would say, probably like 70% of my sessions. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, every single day I shoot bots. That's not the case. But every so often, I will come into the lobby in the private match like this, and I will turn on headshots only and aim assist off. So that means that I have to really focus on putting my shots on the enemy's heads. And once you go back into your real game with your aim assist on, if you just continue to think, oh, I got to shoot people in the head, you will start hitting people in the head all the time. I promise you. It's actually crazy how that, like, simple that is and how effective that is for your aim and your accuracy. Tip number 4. This is something that I think people don't really think about when they're playing a lot, but you have 2 sticks you can use to control your character, right? You don't have to just aim with your right stick. Obviously, that's the predominant one, but every time that I'm aiming and shooting at somebody, I'm using both sticks. And what I mean by that is basically, so when say I'm on this ledge, right? And I see somebody over here, I'm moving my body in the, like, sort of a direction that's going to allow me to continue shooting him with micro adjustments of my hand. I'm not shooting him, oh, I just got my nuke. I'm not shooting him in such a way where I'm just standing still, basically, right, like this, and then in order to make adjustments, I'm just moving, like I have to make full motions with my right stick, because if you're making full motions with your right stick, that's more of a chance that you're basically going to miss shots, right? If you're making micro adjustments with your right stick and moving with your opponent, like basically mirroring their motions, with your left stick, then all you have to do with your right stick is these slight little micro adjustments, right? And it's going to make your life so much easier. Also, even though you don't really strafe that fast in this game, right, you're moving your target, so it's harder for you to be hit. So definitely use both sticks. That's going to be something that kind of feels pretty uncomfortable at first, I would think. But after a while of just sort of dedicated thinking about it, you're going to get really good at using both sticks. All right, guys, the final tip, and this is something you guys have actually requested a lot, has to do with settings. Guys, look at me. Just because you play on a high sensitivity does not mean you're good. What makes you good is hitting all your shots and killing your enemies before they can kill you. If you play on a low sensitivity, you will hit more shots. Therefore, if you play on a lower sensitivity, you have a better chance of being good. Look, I know a lot of people think, because it is true that if you run around a corner and you're right next to somebody, you're going to be able to move your character faster and therefore probably kill them. You have a higher chance of killing them in that scenario. But that's just one specific scenario. And honestly, it doesn't happen that often if you are a good player. Good players avoid encounters where two enemies are directly next to each other. That's more of a 50-50 shot. Good players don't want 50-50 shots. They want the shots that are going to play to their advantage, which is literally every engagement where accuracy is involved, tactics are involved, which is none of that is present in an engagement where you are right next to somebody. So basically what I am saying is that your playstyle is far more important than your sensitivity. If you can keep players at the proper range away from you, then you are going to be able to hit more shots at a lower sensitivity and be a better player. If you don't take my word for it, go look up Apathy's video on accuracy. His video is fantastic. He's a pro player. He's obviously got a ton of reputation. He tells you exactly the same thing. Pro players play on settings between 5 and 7 on both XY. It's going to feel weird at first, but after a few, literally like one afternoon of playing on it, it's going to be so much more natural and you're going to be a better player for it. All right, now that I got that whole spiel out of the way, I'm glad that I did it. I'm going to show you my settings. These are my controller settings. I play on tactical. I know a lot of people play tactical flip if you use a PlayStation controller. Not so much if you use an Xbox controller, but I just like the way that the triggers feel. I don't know, the bumpers feel a little bit weird to me. And I also have a Scuff controller, right? So I don't know if you can see this, but I got two paddles. It's a Scuff Infinity 4 PS Pro. So my right paddle is for jumping and my left paddle is for switch weapon. But anyways, as I told you, 5.5, 1.2 ADS high zoom, 1.0 low zoom. That's not adjusted. My dead zone's 0.04. You want to keep a low dead zone because you want your sticks responsive, but also if you have stick drift, you're going to have to crank it up. I use dynamic aim response curve. This is important, guys. Dynamic aim response curve is OP because if you're using a low, especially if you're using a low sensitivity, which you should be, all right? Basically what dynamic does is if you're going to move your stick a little bit, it's going to react like a tiny bit, right? It's not going to be so jumpy if you're moving a little bit. It's more like for fine-tuned movements, like at long-range engagements. But say someone lands like right next to you out of a building, right? And you jerk your stick to the right to try and turn to kill them, then that's going to respond insanely fast compared to your normal. Like your sensitivity isn't going to be at 5.5 anymore. It's basically going to be enhanced. That's what dynamic does. It's a reverse S shape, so it starts out, you know, it's nice and small, but then as you get to higher, it rises, right? You definitely want to use dynamic in my opinion, and also I have standard aim assist. The only reason I would use precision is basically when you're getting into a lot of like engagements where there's multiple targets. Say a character is like, you know, somewhere down far lane, and then another character runs in front of him, right? Then if you have standard aim assist, a lot of the time the aim assist is really going to pull strong on the character that ran to the side. But if you have precision, it's not going to be quite so dramatic. But honestly, standard aim assist is so strong, I really recommend that you use it. So I just want to give you guys one more bonus tip. It's kind of a little thing, but don't be afraid to use the hip fire. I know in this game, it frustrates me a lot because sometimes it can seem really random, but if you're at really close range, it's often a lot more accurate to use the hip fire feature than the ADS feature, because of the fact that your ADS speed will be pretty slow if you're that close. Like right here, I'm just gonna spray that guy, and I'm not gonna worry about my ADSing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just gonna take too long. And like I said in the intro, I just really quickly want to mention this. The only way that you're going to be able to do this, regardless of how, you know, much information you've sort of soaked up in this video, is by practicing. Guys, you're not going to get better overnight. No one gets better overnight. This is taking me so long to get sort of even halfway decent aim. I'm not even that good. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm the best, like, you know, Call of Duty aimer in the world or anything. But in order to get even halfway decent, you just have to put your hours in. It will come. You can just do stuff like this, shooting bots. It's super easy. It's honestly kind of fun to wreck the bots. I mean, look, I got a nuke here. This is not very hard. I was explaining this stuff to you guys while I was doing it, and I was getting some practice in. It's pretty fun. If you're on controller and you turn off aim assist and you turn on headshots only, you are going to be starting lacing people when you go into public lobbies, and both of those things come back on for you. That's all for today, guys. I really hope you guys learned something. I hope that you guys have your improved accuracy in the near future because of this, but for now, I'm out here, guys. Peace.